Hi, good evening, everyone. I have to use a microphone because we're recording this, so there's no speakers. So the microphone's for folks that couldn't be here tonight, so we're recording it. We'll send it out. Thank you for being here. It's a great turnout. Tonight is an opportunity for me to share with you our new schedule for next year. I need to give you a little history of the schedule at Long River Middle School. This is my 6th year at Long River. When I first arrived, there was an issue with the schedule. We had to look at it, and we made some changes after my first year. When I first arrived, our unified arts classes, PE, band, art, we had computer technology then, we had sewing, family consumer science. Those classes were 70 to 75 minutes each. It's a long time for those classes. Meanwhile, the academic core periods, science, math, ELA, social studies were only 40 minutes long, and there was no passing time built into the schedule. So we went through the process, my first year into my second year with a new schedule, and that's the schedule that we have in place right now. We've had for the last 5 years, which I think is a great schedule. The reason and rationale why we needed to change to a new schedule for next year, there's a few reasons. Number one, as you know, if you've been following the budget process, the enrollment's been decreasing at Long River Middle School. So we're losing a PE teacher. We have 3 PE teachers currently right now. One's being moved. So the health classes that we teach as part of the Unified Arts rotation is going to be embedded in the PE classes, which other schools do, so it's okay. That PE teacher is going to move down to Laurel Edge, and unfortunately the person at Laurel Edge will not be working. I have to look for a different job, unfortunately. So that's the case there. The other issue is that, and really probably the most important one, is the fact that currently the schedule right now for our students who receive tiered intervention through the SRBI process, when we talk about tiered intervention, if you ever hear someone talk about a Tier 1 instruction, that's the day-to-day classroom instruction the teacher provides. If it's a Tier 2 instruction, these students are pulled out from a class typically 3 to 4 days a week for extra support in literacy or math. And if they're in a Tier 3 intervention class, then they come out for 4 or 5 days. And unfortunately for those students that are pulled out, they're getting pulled out of the unified arts classes. They might come out of PE, they might come out of music, they might come out of art, they might come out of another class. And for students, you know, we have a comprehensive curriculum here. We want kids to participate in everything that we have to offer. And we know they need support because if kids are in intervention, they're 2 to 3, 4 grade levels below. We really need to do our best to get them caught back up as they move through the process. At Long River Middle School, we have what's called an A-Day, B-Day schedule. And for years, the A-Day, B-Day schedule, the only reason why we had that was to tell the students if they had PE or music. It didn't affect any other classes. If they had art, they went to art whenever they had it. STEM, they went to STEM whenever they had it. Their core classes, so it was only PE music, okay? So for next year, we're still going to have the A-Day, B-Day rotation, but instead of Friday alternating, we're going with Monday, okay? So as we look at what you have in front of you right now is up here on the screen. I'm going to talk about two slides, all right? Miss Rayner, I apologize. Let me introduce Miss Rayner. Michelle Rayner, our Director of Curriculum for Region 16, big part of supporting me, helping me with this new schedule. There were a lot of people involved in it. So we're going to look at this. You have a copy of this with you, and then the other sheet you have trimesters. Can you just go to the trimester schedule real quick? So right now, Long River Middle School operates on 4 marking periods, 45 days, 45 days, 45 days. Some school districts, I know our elementary school does trimesters, so we go 60 days, 60 days, 60 days. So instead of getting 4 report cards next year, your child will get 3, okay? And if parents that are coming in from, if you're new to Long River Middle School, it's a traditional grading system. It's not a standards-based grading, so your child will receive A, B, C, D, F, hopefully not, hopefully B. But we give numerical grades here, okay? So let's go back to the other screen, the first one. So I'm going to go through each grade level, and there's plenty of time for questions afterwards, okay? But if something jumps out at you right now that you want, I'll stop. We'll talk about it, okay? For 6th grade, if your child's in 6th grade, each of the 3 grade levels has 2 periods where they go off team, meaning they come out of, when I say off team, it's away from the core classes. So they're moving out of their team area. They're getting away from math, science, ELA, and social studies. So 6th grade, period 2 and 4 is when they go off team, okay? And as you see across the way, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if you follow along, the periods 2 and 4 stay consistent. Those will not change. So they know every day, periods 2 and 4, they have an off period, okay? Let's go back to Monday. Can you slide it over a little bit? So on Monday's going to go a straight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 period day with advisory. We're continuing with our advisory program here. Currently, our advisory is on Fridays. We meet from 8:05 to 8:28 every Friday. The high school, when your child gets to Woodland, if he or she goes to Woodland or any high school, really, there's an advisory program. High school does it every day, okay, for 25 minutes. So our advisory program is going to stay consistent. We'll keep it on Mondays, and it's a straight shot 1 through 6, okay? These are just examples of what your child might have. So in 6th grade, for the first trimester, period 2, he or she might have Smart Money. It's a finance course. It's a really nice course. We started a few years ago. In 6th grade, they get Smart Money. 7th grade, it's financial literacy. 8th grade, it's personal finance. So it's really helping our students understand budgeting and wants and needs, and it's been very effective, I think, in terms of what we're doing. So the period 4, where they go back off team again, physical education. PE would be phys ed, okay? If we go to Tuesday, depending on what day it is, Monday, A day, or B day, okay? Your child will have Smart Money every other day for 30 days. They're going to alternate with Spanish. So the other neat thing this year is that our 6th graders, for several years, have been participating in a program called Rosetta Stone and learning about languages without a certified Spanish teacher. This year, we're able to provide that for all students. So in 6th grade, they're going to get Spanish. The middle school, unfortunately, the numbers have not been there for a few years, so our Italian program is no longer. It's being phased out at the high school shortly, but at Longiver Middle School, Spanish is the world language that we teach. So your child could have Smart Money, then on Tuesday, B days, he or she will have Spanish. Wednesday being an A day, Smart Money. Thursday, Spanish. It just alternates, so every other day. Now, the thing with Spanish is it's going to be every other day, but that Spanish class is for the entire year for your child. So for the first trimester, he or she might have Smart Money, but then, can you go to the trimester schedule? Again, periods 1 and 2 and 4, 6th grade. The Unified Arts class is for the 6th grade. So you have Smart Money. This is an example. You know, one child might have Smart Money, another child might have art or 3D art. So if we're looking at one particular student, this student would have Smart Money for 30 days, then he or she would have Spanish the opposite day. But that goes for the entire year. If your child is not taking Spanish for some reason, we do have students that do not participate in the world language program because if they're behind in academics, they might need an academic support class or another support class, then they won't take Spanish, okay? The Board of Education recognizes that we want all students to take world language here at Longiver, but the reality is not every kid can do it. If he or she is struggling in the core classes, they're not going to be in Spanish, okay? So after we get through trimester 1, after 60 days, then we slide over to trimester 2, and your child might have art or 3D art. Those are the 2 other Unified Arts classes that they'll have in 6th grade. They are 2 different curriculums. One is traditional art, one is 3D art. They'll continue with Spanish or study hall or support class, okay? And then trimester 3, if they had art here, then trimester 3, they'll have 3D art. That'll be for the entire year, okay? Can you scroll back? Keep this screen, but just go back to being. So then period 4, because that's what they're doing period 2, period 4 is when they might have their PE/health or their band and chorus. And those alternate every other day for the entire year. Because we have concerts in the winter and the spring, so if your child's in band or chorus, they'll participate in a winter concert in December and then a spring concert in May, which we have coming up in a couple of weeks. And they'll have PE every day. Okay? Elementary school, I think, gets it once every 4 days or so, but so in middle school, they get it every other day, all right? Can we go back to the other screen? If your child is going into 7th grade, So same format on a Monday. It's a straight shot with advisory. One of the differences in the Unified Arts classes for 7th graders, we have a STEM program that Miss Rachel Ryan teaches. In 7th grade, they do challenges. So they do a lot of creative building. They were building catapults. They were building parachutes, boats that float, putting weights in them, trying to maintain what boat would float the longest before it sinks. So they're doing really high-level creative problem solving and planning. 8th grade does a robotics program, which is really cool. So we do have a level in terms of what we're doing in the STEM curriculum. But if your child's in 7th grade, all right, so he or she will have maybe perhaps PE period 1, opposite day Spanish, then PE, because as I said, PE in the Spanish class will alternate every other day for all 3 grade levels. The other UA period would be STEM. So STEM, so we're alternating PE and Spanish over here. STEM every other day with band. Band's going to stay consistent for the entire year. And if your child is in 7th grade, period 1 and 5 will stay consistent for the entire year, okay? All right, let's look at 8th grade. If your child's going into 8th grade, the art class, so let me just tell you, if your child's going into 7th grade, he or she will have art in 7th grade, and then once they get to 8th grade, they'll have 3D art. So it's just a progression for them there. But in 6th grade, they're getting a taste of both, okay? 3D art, perhaps band, opposite, then 3D art here. PE will alternate with Spanish every other day throughout the year, okay? So let's look at Tuesday. Can we scroll up to the 6th grade? Okay, so now here's where we don't have advisory. Here's where some of the big changes occur. We've talked about a rotating schedule for a few years for a few different reasons. Teachers having kids come in first period of the day, having the same group of kids period 1 is a struggle. They come in, sometimes they're lethargic, it's the start of the day, they're not ready to go. That being said, last period of the day, they're a little bit more excited. It's the same group of kids every day. So being able to rotate classes, I think, is a good thing for both the students and the teacher. So here's what we're doing. We took world language out of the core classes and we put Spanish in with the rotation. So that frees up another period throughout the day for us, for our teachers. So on Tuesday, if your child's in 6th grade, they're going to start with period 3. They're going to have social studies, for example. Then they'll go to their Unified Arts class. Then they'll go to language arts, have lunch. 6th grade parents, lunch is early for 6th graders. It's just, unfortunately, it's in the schedule. It's the way it goes. 7th grade's a little later. 8th grade's later than both of them. Then they'll have science. Science again, that's the double block. And then they'll finish up with math over here. So here's what's going to happen. Science teacher in 6th grade, Ms. Stowe, Ms. Goffer, and they're going to teach a lesson. 50 minutes. Period's going to end, bell's going to ring, we're going to get them up, we're going to stretch out, perhaps a water break. They're going to come back into class. The high school does double blocks. They have 80-minute classes. 100 minutes is a long time. So we've got some professional learning to do with our teachers and how to teach effectively with a 100-minute period, okay? Here's the beauty of this. They're going to teach their lesson for 50 minutes, and they're going to come back with the same group of kids. They're not going to introduce any new material. They're not going to introduce new learning objectives. They're going to continue to teach what they taught from the previous lesson. Now they're going to be pulling small groups. Teachers are going to have the opportunity to pull a small group of students. Students can work independently. Students can work collaboratively in small groups together, working on cooperative learning. If your child has to go to intervention, the tier 2 and tier 3 that I talked about, that's when they're going to come out. They're not going to miss any new material, but now they're coming out of that second block and they're not missing their Unified Arts classes. So this creates opportunity for them with our interventionists to work with those students on what they need. And if your child's in intervention, it's not a life sentence. I mean, if we progress monitor every 6 to 8 weeks, and we have had students demonstrate growth and show improvement, and then they come out. If we slide over to Wednesday, this is still 6th grade. They start with period 5. So it may be a little tricky. You're looking at it saying, oh my God, period 3, period 1, and then I got period 5, period 1 on Wednesday. The kids will get it, I promise you. Routines, once we get into the first week or so, they're going to get it. Teachers will have it down on the wall. It's going to be okay. Period 5, they start with ELA. They got their Unified Arts. We know about that. Science, lunch. Now they got a double block of math. So same thing what I said with science, double block, teacher teaches. And one of the other great things, and I thank Ms. Rayner for this, is, we do the iReady assessment 3 times a year. You've heard about that. And if you haven't seen the post, I tell you, from fall to winter to spring, our kids continue to make incremental growth on iReady. Super proud of them. They did a great job. And what Ms. Rayner was able to do for us is get iReady seats. So if we do have some students who perhaps might be struggling or need to do some independent work with iReady, but they're not coming out for intervention, they could be in that double block, getting on, doing some iReady lessons to help support them. And then they'll finish the day with social studies. And then so Thursday would be the same thing coming through. Now they get a double block of social studies, and then Friday, ELA. Same process. All right, so let's look at 7th grade. 7th grade, we know we've got our period 1 and 5. They're coming off team. We got math, ELA, social studies, STEM, science advisory. So now we get to Tuesday. The double block is over here. Period 4 is their double block for 7th grade. Lunch, a little later, Unified Arts, Science, and Math. We move to Wednesday. Double block is period 6 with Science. The double blocks are the same time during the day, so that's consistent. So the students will know, I got my double block, theoretically, period 2 and 3, but it could be period 6, it could be period 1, or not period 1, period 4, okay? And then if we look at 8th grade, same thing for Monday, straight shot, advisory. We're not going to have an opportunity for intervention classes here. I'm not pulling kids out of Unified Arts on Mondays. Okay, so that's something that we're continuing to look at. It's also going to free up our interventionists to look at data, to meet with teachers. There's some really good stuff I believe that's going to happen on Mondays. So 8th grade students, Tuesday, first 2 periods is your double block. So you'll have math, ELA, science, and then social studies. Okay, can you just go back to the trimester schedule? So again, looking at this, 8th grade, period 3 and 6, STEM for 30 days, every other day with band and chorus. So if I start with STEM, first day of school, I've got STEM, next day I've got band, next day I got STEM, next day I got band, alternates all the way through first trimester. Trimester 2, they're gonna go to 3D art. And then last trimester, they'll have personal finance. And then the other period where they come off team, they would have perhaps PE health, opposite of Spanish, academic support, study hall, or support class. Yep. So just going back to the rationale and the purpose, really, talked about the tiered interventions and why we want to do this and why we believe this is most important for all kids. It's going to give the double block opportunity, all right, for some thorough instruction. Our teachers have been working on small group instruction for a few years. This gives them a greater opportunity to really dig deep and get after some of the skills that our kids need to get better at. When I first got here, they had a Pride Win period in the middle of the day, and it was like 30 to 33 minutes. Each grade level had a different time, but it wasn't solid. It was 30 to 30 minutes. This is going to be structured and focused, and I believe this is what's best for our students here at Long River. I really think this is, we vetted this out with several people, shared it with the Board of Education, superintendent, of course. So this is what we're presenting to you as parents for next year. So I'll open it up to questions. Yes?
So it looks like it's a different set of, the UA seems to have some significant, or different sets of UA classes than now and per year. So the STEM is one of your 3 unified arts. So there's STEM and there's arts and there's financial literacy. So rather than art and 3D art, you're getting one or the other. So then
In 7th grade, you're getting art.
yeah.
8th grade, you're going to get 3D art. So if your child's in 7th grade, they're going to get STEM, the challenges, the building of materials. They're going to get art, and they're going to get financial literacy.
And with the Spanish now being built in for everybody, that kind of
Spanish is in there too.
go from 4 different to
Well, keep in mind the other main unified arts class that's not part of this right now is the health class. That was a unified arts class. The kids had that for 45 days. The way our unified arts worked in the past was they would have health for 45 days. They'd have art for 45 days. They'd have STEM for 45 days. Now it's going to be every other day for a trimester. Health classes will be embedded in the PE curriculum. Yes, sir. A 4-day week? Yeah, we're going to follow the rotation. Absolutely. Yeah. No. We're going to miss it. Yeah, and actually, that's one of the reasons we moved advisory to Monday, because looking at the calendar for next year, I don't want to miss core classes. So as much as I love advisory, if I have to miss more advisories, I will, but I don't want to miss the core classes. Yes?
Can I ask as a new parent, what is advisory?
Sure. Advisory by design, certainly I can speak, the middle school level, every adult in the building, me included, has an advisor. I have a 6th grade group this year, and we stay with that same group of kids for 3 years. And one of the things that we're definitely doing this year, part of our diversity inclusion model is what we're trying to do. We teach lessons in that. The last Friday of the month, we do games. So I'll have kids in here, we'll do Connect 4. We've done musical chairs. It's about building connections and relationships, away from the core, away from the academic piece, just trying to build relationships with kids so that every child in school here has a relationship with an adult. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Every child's placed in advisory. It's just random. Yeah, it's just it's random, you know.
But then they all stay together.
They stay together. Yeah, and when your child gets to Woodland, if they go to Woodland, which I hope they all go to Woodland, it's a great school. The beauty of Woodland is you come in as a freshman, you stay with that advisor all 4 years, and as an advisor, even as a classroom teacher, when your advisory is called, you're the one shaking their hand as they get their diploma. It's really special.
So they stay with the same adults, not necessarily the same group.
Same group, same kids. Same group, same kids. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. At the middle school, when they come in, maybe they don't all know each other, but now you're building some friendships within that advisory. Yeah. What else can I answer for you? Any question? There's a lot here. Scheduling's complicated. Yes?
Do you think I know the students will get the hang of it, but it's like each person going to get their own little, spreadsheet, like,
Well,
what you're going to have as a reference at the beginning?
So for several years, we had agenda books that the children got, the students got. They were like a lot of money, thousands, like $3,200 I think we paid for them. Kids weren't using them. There was too much in it. So we scaled back, and we hadn't had them, but now we are getting, every student will have an agenda book next year, but it's, going from this to this, more streamlined. They're going to have a schedule in there. They'll build it just like we did previous years, where at the beginning of the day, at first day of school, they're going to put their schedule in there. And it'll be a little tricky, especially for the 7th and 8th graders, because they haven't seen this. If your child's coming into 6th grade, it's going to be like they didn't know any better. So they're going to I think they'll fall into it. They're going to struggle with their lockers. We know that. But I think once they get the schedule down, they'll be okay. Yeah. Yes? Yeah, no, those tabs, no. The schedule stays the same. That's just a lot of tabs going on there. That just, go ahead, click on it, Michelle. That just basically shows, the schedule, but, tells us we're getting out of 12:20. It just shrinks things down. Yeah, we've got, Tim, how many schedules do we have at the middle school? 15? I mean, you got delayed opening, early dismissal, emergency days. I mean, there's a lot of different advisory days, so we got a lot of different schedules. That's middle school. So, good question. Anything else? Yes.
Is the Spanish going to be, like, how much of it will be Rosetta Stone, or will there be a Spanish,
No Rosetta Stone. We have 3 Spanish teachers, Miss Saka, Miss Reed, Miss Dewey, 3 Spanish teachers, direct instruction. They're fantastic. And they're excited to teach 6th grade. Yeah. And the other thing, too, just so you know, because we did go from so Spanish as it is now is every single day beginning in 7th grade. So it is a difference. So there was some work that Ms. Rayner had to do as director of curriculum with Ms. Luddy, who's the department head at the high school. So we had to look at the curriculum. How can we make this work if we're going every other day? You know, you're going 90 days of Spanish versus 180 days. So they were able to do that and work through it. And because they're now going to be teaching in 6th grade, they could start earlier units there and transition into 7th and 8th grade. Well, if there are no other questions, you know, we're going to post this on Schoology. So if you want to go back and, you know, watch it a few times, that's cool. Or you can message me in Schoology or email me at any time, and we'll talk it through, okay? For the parents that have new kids coming in, or new 6th graders, welcome. I have a meeting scheduled for new incoming parents in a couple weeks, I think. June? I have it out there. I put it out there. Probably in June. A lot going on next month. June 7th? June 7th for new incoming 6th grade parents. That'll be a different presentation, okay? If you have other questions, I'll be here. I'll hang around if you want to come talk to me. But otherwise, if you're good, have a great night. Thank you for coming.